Hi students, this is Mrs. Rupper. I'm going to go ahead and do a video on algebraic properties. I will also be doing a couple of problems from page 6 and page 7. So first we're going to talk about the four properties of equality with addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So this just means that when you are solving equations, if you add, subtract, multiply, or divide the same number to both sides of the equation will still be true, okay? So let's look at this paper, and I'm going to go ahead and do a few problems from each of these pages. Okay, so we have a whiteboard here that will demonstrate if it is, first of all, if it's true, and if it is true, I'm going to identify the property demonstrated. So this first one, m minus 7 is 13. The next one I see they added 7 here, and they added 7 here. And I like to draw a line straight down to separate the two sides of the equation. Yes, they added 7 here. Yes, they added 7 there. So, is it a true statement? Yes, so I write true. And then I need to write down what property is illustrated, and it's the addition, property of equality. Okay, and I'm all done with number 1. Okay, I'm going to go on to number 3. Looking at that particular problem, I see, okay, here's my equation. The next step, they divided 2 on both sides of the equation. Again, I'm going to put a vertical line down there. I can see that division by 2 is on both sides of the equation, so it's still true. And then I write division, property of equality. Okay, and I can abbreviate it like that. Next, I'm going to move on to number 5, and I see there's my original equation. It looks like, again, everything is divided by 2. And as long as it's every term in here, then it's still going to be a true statement. So I'm going to write true here. And what property did I use? It's the division, property of equality. Done. Okay, now I'm going to move on to number 6 over here. There's 2 minus 2x plus 8 equals negative 8 minus x. I'm going to put a line down my equal sign. Now, what do you notice? Look. The minus 2, it's on the same side of the equation. So that equation will not be balanced anymore because you would need a minus 2 on this side and a minus 2 over here. So since it's both minus 2 like that, all I do is I write false. Because that is not a true statement anymore from your original equation. So that's the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division properties of equality. And that is for page 6. Now we're going to move on to page 7. And we're going to talk about a few more properties here. The first one is your distributive property, and then all of a sudden substitution. So your division property is the sum of two numbers times a third number is equal to the sum of each addend times the third number. And you can see that on your paper here. So if you have a times b plus c, it equals a times b plus a times c. Then you also have your substitution property, which is if x equals y, then x can be substituted in for y in any equation. And y can be substituted for x in any equation. And I will do some examples for that so you can get used to seeing substitution and the distributive property of multiplication over addition. Okay, so on number 9, we're going to determine if that's true or false. And then we're also going to say what property it is if it is true, okay? So this first one, it says 3x plus 2x equals 7 plus 4. The next step, 5x equals 11. To me, they just simplified it. So they substituted 3x and 5x, or 3x and 2x and got 5x. And they substituted 7 plus 4 for 11. So that is still a true statement. And we use the substitution property. And to make it easier to find the solution, I'm going to circle it because things are a little crowded right there. So if that happens on your homework, you do the same thing, okay? All right, now we're going to look at number 10. 5x minus 7x plus 15 equals negative 2 plus 3x. So I see what happened is they got negative 12x plus 15 equals negative 2x plus 3x. 5x minus 7x will not give you 12x or negative 12x because they're opposite signs. That 5x is not negative, so it would not be a negative 12. So I simply write false. When it is a false statement, I do not need to put any type of property there. Okay? Next, number 12. We go 5x plus 10y minus 5z equals 4. The next step, 5 parentheses x plus 2y minus z equals 4. Now, this is kind of a reverse distributive property, but we call it distributive when they do it either way. When you're factoring a 5 out of everything or whether you're multiplying a 5 through. For me, I would probably say, oh, I factored out a 5. I would not call that distributive property, but in this case, they do. So we're going to say it's still a true statement because a 5 was factored out of every term, the 5x, 10y, and 5z. And so I write it's true. And it's the distributive property. Okay. All right. So next we're going to go on to the second half of the worksheet and go over to symmetric properties as well as the reflexive property. I'll start with the reflexive property because I think of that as looking in the mirror. So it's A equals A, or 5 equals 5, or W equals W, and it's basically the same thing. So if we look at 15, and we say 6 equals 6, is that true or false? Well, I don't know any case where 6 does not equal 6, so I'm going to put true, and it's because of what? The reflexive property. Okay. Next, we can go ahead and let's do number 16. 16 says if 5 equals y, then y equals 5. Okay? So the symmetric properties, like if A equals B, then B equals A. So in this case, for the symmetric property, if 5 equals y, then y equals 5. So that would be the symmetric property. So it's true, and then it would be symmetric property. Okay? All right. I think that'll be all. Maybe I can do one more. Okay? So let's pick number 17. X plus 2 equals x plus 2. Okay? All right, to me, x plus 2 is almost looking in the mirror. And when you look in the mirror, what property is it going to be? It's a true statement. Oh, I should be circling these answers. True reflexive property. Okay, make sure you finish the rest of those pages and all the way through 20. I've done maybe a fourth of what you had to do, so hopefully you can get it from this video. Have a great time.